In the late 1980s, when adult cinema was already drifting toward faster production and louder spectacle, one film chose to lean in a completely different direction. Released in 1987, Pretty Peaches 2 didn't try to modernize itself. It didn't chase realism. And it didn't pretend to be grounded. Instead, it embraced something far stranger. This was a sequel that understood its own absurdity and leaned into it with confidence. Nearly a decade after the original Pretty Peaches quietly became a cult favorite, the sequel arrived not as a continuation of realism, but as an expansion of tone. Where many adult films of the era were abandoning personality altogether, Pretty Peaches 2 doubled down on imagination. This was not a film about plausibility, it was a film about curiosity. Directed and produced by Alex de Renzy, one of the most idiosyncratic voices in adult cinema, the film plays less like a traditional narrative and more like a surreal road trip through desire, satire, and cultural parody. De Renzy had always treated the genre as a playground. He wasn't interested in realism or elegance in the traditional sense. What fascinated him was contrast. Innocence colliding with eccentricity, sincerity brushing up against absurdity. And nowhere is that more evident than here. At the center of the story is Peaches. This time played by Siobhan Hunter, Peaches is not written as a knowing protagonist. She is curious, open, and deeply naive, less a character navigating the world, and more a mirror reflecting it. The film begins with a quiet but telling frustration. Peaches seeks guidance but finds none. Her mother, Eunice Goldblum, played with deliberate eccentricity by Tracy Adams, is unwilling, or perhaps unable, to offer clarity. So Peaches does what any fairy tale protagonist would do. She leaves. From that moment on, Pretty Peaches 2 reveals its true structure. This is not a linear journey, it's episodic, fragmented, almost dreamlike. The film openly borrows from The Wizard of Oz, not in plot, but in rhythm. Peaches wanders through San Francisco encountering a rotating cast of exaggerated figures, each convinced they understand the world better than she does. Each character offers guidance. Each character is wrong. What makes these encounters memorable isn't their shock value, but their tone. They play like sketches, short, strange, often funny interludes that feel closer to underground comedy than conventional adult storytelling. Ron Jeremy appears as Uncle Howard, leaning into caricature rather than menace. His presence is knowingly theatrical, bordering on self-parody. Peter North's Bobby feels less like a romantic interest and more like a symbol of misplaced confidence. A man certain he has answers, even when the film quietly suggests otherwise. Jamie Gillis, cast against expectation as Granny, delivers one of the strangest performances of his career. It's absurd, intentional, almost confrontational in its refusal to make sense. This is a film that dares the viewer to either accept the joke or walk away. And that joke, at its core, is about innocence moving through a world that wants to define it. Peaches never becomes cynical. She never hardens. She simply observes. Siobhan Hunter plays her not as a caricature, but as a blank canvas. Her performance is gentle, unforced, and deliberately passive. She doesn't dominate scenes, she absorbs them. That passivity is the film's quiet provocation. Rather than showing transformation as conquest, Pretty Peaches 2 presents it as accumulation. Peaches doesn't learn in the traditional sense, she experiences. And the film allows those experiences to stack without judgment. Visually, the movie is unmistakably San Francisco. Shot on location, including sequences in Chinatown, the city becomes more than a backdrop. It becomes part of the film's odd, wandering logic. Streets twist. Interiors feel temporary. Locations appear briefly and vanish just as quickly. There is no sense of home, only motion. The production values are modest but intentional. Like many late 80s films, it sits at the crossroads between film and tape, but still retains a sense of composition. Framing is often static. Camera movement minimal. The emphasis is not on spectacle, it's on presence. The humor, too, is deliberately out of step with its time. It's campy, surreal, sometimes uncomfortable, and often knowingly dumb in a way that feels purposeful rather than lazy. This isn't a film trying to be clever. It's a film comfortable being weird. That confidence is likely why Pretty Peaches 2 stood out when it was released. While it never aimed for mainstream recognition, it was widely discussed within the industry. In 1989, it won the AVN Award for Best Film, a rare acknowledgement for a sequel, and rarer still for a comedy this unconventional. Years later, its legacy only grew. In 2003, the film received an AVN Award for Best Classic Release on DVD, confirming what cult audiences already knew. This wasn't just a curiosity. It was a document of a moment when adult cinema could still afford to be playful. The success of the sequel eventually led to a third installment in 1991, completing an unlikely trilogy. But it's Pretty Peaches 2 that feels like the purest expression of the concept. Unburdened by expectations, uninterested in realism, unapologetically strange. Today, restored by preservation labels like Vinegar Syndrome, the film exists in a new context. Watched decades later, it no longer feels provocative. It feels historical. A snapshot of a time when adult films could still be personal, experimental, and proudly off-kilter. In retrospect, Pretty Peaches 2 isn't really about discovery in the way it first appears. It's about perspective, about how innocence survives, not by resisting the world, but by passing through it unchanged. It's messy, it's uneven, and it absolutely doesn't belong to the streamlined adult cinema that followed, which is exactly why it endures. Because sometimes, the films that last aren't the ones that try to be timeless. They're the ones brave enough to be exactly what they are.